story of the chosen one is something that allows itself to be a very mythical elevation for an actor. It allows them to be this one person who everyone's waiting for, the one person that everyone wants to see for the first time, the one person who would come and save their lives from a very, very dreary existence. It's that one concept, one theme that is used a lot nowadays, and I think that fatigue is slowly starting to set in. Vanakkam and welcome to Cinema Express. This is Avinash Ramachandran. In this video review episode, we are going to look at director Gowtam's Kingdom, starring Vijay Deverakonda, Satyadev, Bhagyashri and a lot of other actors. The film has a very promising start. It talks about a tribe in the 1920s that is protecting gold against the Britishers and how they are being vanquished by the advanced weaponry and how they have a prophecy that one person will come to save them in the future. This is something we have seen in various films, right from Ayirathil Oruvan, which is Selvaraghavan's film with Karthi, and then until recently we saw films like Retro, and there's Devara, there's Salar. A lot of this film has this prophetic moment where one person comes to save them from some sort of trouble. And in Kingdom, the story is set in Hyderabad. The story starts off in Hyderabad, but the core is in a town in Sri Lanka where Telugu fishermen, Telugu tribes are used to smuggle goods for the local cartel, and how they want to go back to the mainland but they're not able to because of various reasons, including bureaucracy, red tape, everything. And it's almost fictionalized world where there is this very tyrant who's there at the center of things, who doesn't allow them to do anything, who always kills them without rhyme or reason, and then they're all waiting for that one savior, and no points for guessing who that savior is. It's going to be Vijay Deverakonda's Suri character. What prompts him to leave his home and then go to this completely unknown place, which again we have seen in films like KGF, but again, so the thing is, it's a very familiar trope, and the problem with Kingdom is that although it does try to build up this wonderful fictional world that has all the high moments, they are all familiar. We have seen them in a lot of films, especially in the recent past, that gives us a sense of tedium. It makes us think, what new are you going to do? And that's also because this film is directed by Gowtam, who has given us the wonderfully emotional Jersey. So you think at some point Kingdom would tap into that emotional core, and that actually happens, but it doesn't happen to the hero of the film, who's played by Vijay Deverakonda. It happens to the brother character. Satyadev plays this character of Shiva, and it is in search of Shiva that Suri comes to Sri Lanka, and the entire episode unfolds in the island country. The film is rather straightforward in this approach because it's very simple. One brother is searching for another, and he somehow finds his way there through a raw agent who has his own ideas, who has own ideologies. It's just after the assassination of the former prime minister in the timeline. So it is also in the early 90s where technology hasn't really seeped in through everywhere. And in this era, in this time, when you see a departed type of a thing where there's undercover operation, there is a spies involved, there are multiple spies involved, how each of them play against each other. There's a huge cartel with a lot of different eccentric people, which we might have recently seen in Retro. The problem with Kingdom lies in the fact that a lot of these aspects of the film were very, very recent, so that is very, very fresh in our memory. So that probably that's why we tend to approach Kingdom with a sense of we wait for it to do something more than what we expect it to do, and that doesn't really happen in many of the scenes, but when it does, it is beautiful. The way Satyadev and Vijay Deverakonda's characters meet each other, how that plays out. So there are a lot of ideas that are very, very promising. I would have loved to know how Shiva and Suri rekindle their brotherly relationship. I would love to see how Shiva, who suddenly finds himself in this middle of nowhere, comes to terms with being the de facto leader of the place. How did he understand what he should do? All of those things. What made the people around him accept him as the leader? There are a lot of things that could have been explored more, considering the film. Actually, the Kingdom is a duology, and the first part is more focused on Satyadev's character, and with just a little leads to what we might expect Deverakonda's character doing in the sequel. But what happens because of this is we tend to feel a bit disengaged with the protagonist of the film, which is Suri, and so whatever he does doesn't really have enough weightage to our engagement factor. We don't really know what is Bhagyashri Borse's character doing in this installment. She has probably 2 to 3 scenes which actually go nowhere. The thing is that character has weightage. It has a very important role to play, but unfortunately we don't see it happening. And when suddenly towards the climactic portions, when we see interaction between Bhagyashri's character and Vijay Deverakonda's character, it feels misplaced, it feels unnecessary, and it also takes away the focus from a very, very gripping scene that's happening elsewhere. That scene is probably one of the best staged scenes in this film, and it's chilling, it's sentimental, it's emotional, it's thrilling, it has a lot of gore, it talks about a different kind of a film that probably Kingdom could have been. The thing with Kingdom again is the fact that when you look at it in hindsight, you feel that it had a lot of promise. This could be a story about how Shiva and Suri come to terms with each other, how they understand what each of those goals are, the objectives are, what difference they have been since their separation, how similar they are at the core of their being. A lot of these things don't really get explored enough. How that entire community that is oppressed is feeling about what's happening, we don't really get a sense of it. The film looks gorgeous. It has wonderful elevation music by Anirudh Ravichander. It has a lot of good moments, but it never really comes together as a cohesive film because A, it feels familiar, B, it doesn't have the emotional weightage it thinks it has. The emotions are not conveyed through us through scenes. It is more of them saying what they are feeling, and we don't really want to throw our weights behind the characters after a while because they are template, they don't really do much, and the savior comes in very late, and when the whole hype happens for the savior, it is again very reminiscent of what we have seen. So I think Kingdom would have been a different film if it had released a few years ago when we weren't overwhelmed by the barrage of films coming under the same genre. This film would have been quite different if we had equal weightage for the protagonist in this installment itself, instead of saying wait for part 2 where the entire film will be hinged on Deverakonda's Suri character. But thing is, be it Satyadev or Vijay, they are amazing, and so is the villain played by Venkitesh. It's a very over-the-top role. It's this old school villainy that typical of the 80s and 90s, very pop culture, very outrageous, very OTT, very caricaturish, and he plays it to the hilt. He goes all out to play this character that has no moral compass whatsoever. It's only pure villainy, and it's delicious to see it unfold. He's not challenged enough by the hero, and that is detrimental to the film because honestly, when the film unfolds and we see what's going to happen to the villain, which spoiler alert is not there because you know what's going to happen to the villain, you don't get the feeling of something huge has happened or something that is catastrophic has been avoided. No, it doesn't give a sense of all of that because we're not very invested in the character development of the side actors in the film. We are very much in tune with what happened to Suri and Shiva, but other than these two people, we don't really get a sense of the place, the sense of the people. I think that is where Kingdom doesn't really work. But the film has a lot of interesting moments. There are wonderful action sequences that are beautifully shot, beautifully choreographed, and each of them are very compact. As in, there are no elaborate stunt sequences that go on and on and on to showcase the bravado of the leading men. No, and most of the fight sequences are very emotional, and they get it right. Be it the whole sequence inside Venkitesh's house, be it the sequence on the forest where they are trying to smuggle something, or the entire the last fight, which is the lead up to the part 2, everything is emotionally charged. It is wonderfully choreographed. As I said, it's wonderful to watch, and probably that is why when the other sequences don't match up to the integrity and the intensity of these scenes, you feel like Kingdom feels more of an opportunity wasted, or rather, let's just say it's an opportunity that has not been fulfilled to its full potential. Probably the part 2 of Kingdom will give us more into the world of Suri and the people that he's trying to save, the prophecy, the chosen one. Everything might come into place in part 2, but for part 1, let's just say things are not enough. On that note, we come to the end of this video review episode. If you liked it, please like, share and subscribe to Cinema Express, and do let us know what you thought of Kingdom and this review. And until we meet next time in another video review episode, this is your friendly neighborhood critic, Avinash Ramachandran, signing off. Tata.